bim, bam, bim, 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 bam.
Bim, 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 bam. Yai-da-dai-da-dai-dai, bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Bim,
Bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam.
yai-da-dai-da-dai-dai, bim,
Bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Good Shabbos, everyone. To those together in person and to those online with us, of course, tell us where you're enjoying services from and that you're here with us, and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom, as we do as well. If you want to reach over to someone not too far away and wish them a Shabbat Shalom and welcome them to services too, as we become a community intimately on this beautiful, gorgeous summer night. There's no such thing as spring anymore. We go right from winter to summer in Michigan. Right? That's all we get. But it's okay. I'm not complaining. I'm loving the sunshine. And as some have asked, can we be outside? The possibility is there. One of the things that's important is that those online can engage with us. And so we're best set up now, as we've improved our system online indoors here, to be able to create that. So that's what we're doing right now. But like last summer, we have ways, and we'll make it work outside when our summer services begin. June 10th, we have a picnic, and we'll start that then. Maybe even before, we'll see. But for now, let's make this time our Shabbat. Let's see the blessings that are part of us, what we experience together.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam k'sheshet yamim asa Adonai asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz.
As Israel has made this day Shabbat, so we learn Shabbat has made us a people. What we create in this time, what we make our memories out of. We open up Torah this week and find ourselves reading Parsha Emor. And in the Torah portion, it's all about the holidays we observe. First, Shabbat, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Passover, Sukkot, Shavuot. And in a sense, what the ancients were doing as they prescribed these 6 holidays for us as a people was a concept of creating memory triggers. A way to hang our hat on something that would recur, something that we create in life, something that we give ourselves memories for. And that's the importance of a weekly time to pause. The beauty of these moments of Shabbat as time that we can just breathe and reflect and soak in that which is most precious to us. So as we begin our prayers tonight, as we begin our services, maybe for a moment, in advance of that, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Relax. Breathe in God's gift to each and every one of us. Breathe out our gift to this world. The gift that we experience in this time of Shabbat. This blessing that we have. Think of the memories, days such as this hold in our mind's eye. But we can see clearly of holidays together with loved ones, of laughter, around a table of joy shared with friends, with family. Memories instilled with those that we've shared time with, those who are no longer here, when their spirits still bless us. Helps us with perspective. It's one day to look into our mind and to think of those memories, those memory triggers that exude that meaning for us, an idea of what matters most. From the simplest air we breathe, the sun that shines above and warms us on a day like today. The beauty of the melodies we sing that create those memories of Shabbat, of holidays, of precious time, of memories.
Kishet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai, et hashamayim v'et haaretz, u'bayom hashvi Shabbat v'yin afaj, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
And so as we've prepared ourselves, as we've remembered why we come together, so do we join in our prayers of this evening, our prayers of Shabbat, of Kabbalat. To receive this time in our lives, if we want, we can always use our prayer books, but tonight's a CAYA service, a casual service, to just sing along, enjoy prayers, or as you want, maybe read them in the prayer book as we begin with our call to worship, I think on page 21 or something like that, but I don't know. I should know these things, right? But you don't need a prayer book. It's okay. And so we rise together and join with Cantor in our call to worship.
Lai, 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 חושך מפני אור. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day becomes night. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
As we meander through the Torah portion, in the midst of the laws around the holidays, about Shabbat, about Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, again, Sukkot and Shavuot and Pesach, there's this interesting law in there that says, when you harvest your field, you leave the corners of your harvest unharvested, so that the widow, the orphan, the stranger can take what they need. Now, it's fascinating, that exact same law was in last week's Torah portion in the Holiness Code. You think that we couldn't remember from week to week and we have to be reminded of this? So the question the rabbis ask is, what's the purpose of repeating practically the same words of how we harvest our fields and leaving the corners unharvested? But when we think of the holidays, the memories that we equate with them, so often they're around a table with food, with family, with friends. A good Shabbos meal, a Pesach Seder, a Rosh Hashanah dinner, and what that represents. And maybe the brilliance in our tradition is as we remember these things, we're commanded to also remember those who don't have, those who need food on their table, those who aren't blessed with the bounty that we may experience. When we think about it, I mean, a good Seder is complete with a beautiful dessert, and you finish the Pesach, cheesecake or sponge cake, and then somehow you still have room for macaroons. So that law is saying to you, like, hey, pause for a moment and recognize our responsibility in this world. It's why we say a prayer every night. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Let us lie down in peace, God. Permit us to wake up in the security of knowing we're safe and loved. Be a shield around us. Keep enemies, disease, violence, homelessness, hunger far away from those we love. We all have anticipations of what is tomorrow, what tomorrow will bring, what we hope for tomorrow. But we also understand that we never know what tomorrow might bring. So maybe we say that prayer the same reason we're commanded to leave the corners of our field unharvested, because when we're unsure of what to do, we think of others and what we can do for them. That we're reminded of our responsibility in this world. I heard someone recently talking about the beauty in our Hebrew prayers. And they moved from a traditional synagogue where everything was Hebrew to a synagogue like ours where some is sung in Hebrew, prayers are, but we translate most things we do. And this gentleman said, I love the melodies. When I understood what we were saying, didn't really resonate with me as much. I love being a part of this faith, but I don't want to know all the words and what they mean, because I'm not so sure if I believe in that God or in that way of looking at it. So why do we say the prayers? He said, to remind ourselves that the world's always been incomplete. The world's been broken from the very start. But we've survived. We've persevered. We've thrived. And we've found meaning in our days. And so we say the prayers to say it was broken from the start. But we have responsibility to put some of those pieces back together, to be a part of the solution every day of our lives.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha l'chaim u'shalom me'ata v'yad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. לשלום, והמיתנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, והמיתנו מלכנו לחיים.
I sometimes feel a little guilty in sharing meditations or my thoughts or my teachings, my prayers in a sense, because who am I to, ponder and share? We were once taught in rabbinical school that a rabbi's sermon is his therapy, her therapy. I get to share what I'm working through. You're all my therapists. You can consult with me afterwards. So I get to share what's on my mind, what I'm thinking, what I'm going through, what I'm wrestling with, or what is pertaining interesting in this moment. But we all have that potential. It's part of the reason we have prayer books as a way just to be a vehicle to lift us up to prayer. But it's also why we have silent prayers too. It's a way just to think for ourselves. We in a moment we'll chant the Avot V'Imahot, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, all had, we could say, 7 different relationships with God, 7 different ideas in their minds, and we build upon that for ourselves, what that might be. Whatever that is okay. What makes us a people is that each of our ideas is Jewish, is relevant, is connected, is something valued in our community, is a blessing. So in preparation for the Amidah, our central prayers of worship, we pray silently. Together for the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
In the midst of our prayers, so do we turn our thoughts to those in need of healing and strength. We walk around with the Torah, we reach out and touch it, mentioning names of those we're thinking of in our prayers. And just as Torah has been a source of wisdom, of learning, of hope for our people, so can it offer strength in our times of need.
Source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say,
Shberach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Imotenu Sarak Le'avrachel. Hu Yivarech et Cholim, merciful God, who's blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel. Send your blessings to our loved ones, stricken with illness and anxiety, especially as friends and family we think of at this time. Alyssa Otto and Alan Edelberg, Mickey Berg, Doreen Billett, Lillian Bratt, Michael Brody, Karen Kasman, Patty Seresny, Judy Naines Dolson, Brett Eisen, Michael Eisen, Elisheva Batsara, Barbara Esrig, Richard Gotro, Daniel Gorin, Hadar Grenadier, Batya Vesha Panina, Andrew Halo, Ava Haber-Kornholm, Ty Hall, Hank Heiser, Jane Jacobs, Serafina Coffrin, Sarah Bat Miriam, Karen Coltoneau, Rick Hornsman, Marta Lazar, Henry Leopold, Erica Littman, Libby McIntyre, Zoe Marcus, Joyce Maza, Allison Mertzman, Marlene Miller, Marianne Min, Gail Mintz, Lev Herschel, Ben Bat Ami, Linda Newman, Rabbi Robert Nosenchuk, Razel Bat Leah Miriam, Leah Elisheva Bat Avram Bachana, Annette Pines, Melanie Pohl, Gary Pollock, Joanne Reed, Rachel Mibet Chaim Bachava, Marcy Fisher-Reiners, Steve Richmond, Julie Robinson, the St. Amand family, Rita Seidman, Bernard Sklar, Roberta Sanino, Gary Spangler, Barbara Storm, Leo Tosto, Connie Wahlberg. All those, of course, battling the coronavirus, those injured in the Ukraine in these past months, the 32,455 American troops been injured in Iraq and the surrounding areas to date, and all the names in our hearts. Baruch atah naraf el-chalim. Bless you, God, give strength to those in need.
לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
The mystics teach us that Kaddish has different meanings every time it's recited. In their minds, it's a prayer that links earth to heaven, bridges the chasm between the living and the dead. The Kaddish is the assurance the soul is enduring the human spirit indestructible. A prayer that permits a child to remember a parent to remember a child. It's an opportunity to bind wounds and bring generation closer to generation in light and darkness. It's all of these and more. For it is our people's memory of the best that life has to offer. This time in our prayers, our thoughts turn to those taken from our midst in this past week and month, who Shloshim mark, friends and family of our community: Eli Abulafaya, Jean Blostein, Marjorie Gilbert, Sally Levine, Ann Kelly, Ralph Silver, Barbara Holm, Dean Perach, Stephen August, Gloria Ellis, Joseph Ostrowski, Philip Smith, Robert Stewart, as well as those whose Shana we mark the year, this past year, Zoli, Reuben, June Gerwin, as well as the 4,586 Americans of our armed forces who have been killed in Iraq and the surrounding areas to date, and those who've lost their lives in the war in Ukraine, and the over 1 million Americans who have lost their lives to the coronavirus. Linking their names with names whose yortzites we mark on the Shabbat, those whose anniversary of passing we lovingly commemorate: Irving Beale, Ruth Block, Rose Bratt, David Brody, Faye Brody, Manny Kaplan, Rabbi Sissy Koran, Madeline Ferris, Renee Firestone, Robert Fleischman, Marvin Haas, Elaine Kovinsky, Benjamin Kovinsky, Bernice Kaplan-Lazaro, David Liederman, Harold Morse, Mariah Newborn, Louis Rich, Carol Rock, Samantha Aaron Rosen, Barbara Shear, Mildred B. Simon, Sandra Sanino, Nate Tarno, Elliot Weston, Nathan Zumberg. And linking their names, all the names that we did not recite on the Shabbat, those of every faith and family whose lives have touched ours, as well as those who have no one to stand and say Kaddish for them. So do we join together as one family, as one community, and joining the immortal words of mourners' Kaddish as found on page 46 of our prayer books. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divra chirate v'yalmich malchute, b'chayach chon u'vyomech chon u'chayed chol Beit Yisrael, v'galal u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbam v'arach olam amei amaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit ramam v'yit naseh, V'nadar, v'naleh, v'nalal, shemed, kudusha, v'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata. Damram b'yama v'imru, amen. Yehei shomo rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mama, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. The source of peace, and peace to those who mourn, comfort to those who are bereaved. And let us all say,
Oseh shalom b'mrama, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Oseh shalom b'mrama, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
I actually have to look at the computer to see if there's any Tish questions. I was going to stand out here. So, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So, a few things to share. My philosophy class will resume on Monday at 12 noon as we study together in the social hall. And following that, will go for the next 3 weeks on Mondays. May 24th is a Tea Talk in Torah Rabbi Daniel will be teaching that this time. And he sends his Shabbat greetings to us all from Jerusalem, where he's with Amy's son, right? Jeremy's there with him. So leading a birthright trip, Rabbi is right now, and enjoying being in Israel for this week. So other things to share. We will be going to our summer services, but not formally until June 10th with a picnic first outside, and then our outdoor services. Who knows? Maybe Memorial Day weekend we'll be able to do that as well. There's no bar mitzvah that night. We'll see. But that's the beauty, in the future, when we have our new space, we'll be able to gather with 50 of us or 70 of us in that new sacred space, even when there's a bar mitzvah going on here that begins at 7:30, right? When we were here at 6:30 on a bar mitzvah weekend, there's a family taking pictures here starting at 7 o'clock, right? So we defer to them to be in the sanctuary and enjoy that time with their family, and so we sort of lose that opportunity. So with more space, we have opportunity as we've grown. In the early days, a bar mitzvah at Temple Shir Shalom was not only special, as it still is, but everyone knew that child, so everyone still came to Shabbat services. And it was a bit of a different feeling. And now, as we've grown, right, that's not always the case, and so it feels a little bit different. And so we want to create the opportunity that we can always have our time together still, and the bar mitzvah family can still enjoy that for those who want those Friday night b'nai mitzvah. And so now, Minyan, thank you, Flo. That is 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings and is remote on Zoom. And you register online through our website, and you get the link that way. You can do it right before to get on. Thank you, Flo, for reminding us about that, too. Yes, Paulette. Why were you embarrassed? We haven't really given numbers like that, and why would you know that? You're not living it daily. You're only here every other day. So, just under 9,000 square feet, about 9,000 around. So it will be, and there's a promotional or a marketing piece that's going out to show you all renderings of that, and we'll have them on display here too. We've asked, we're getting some more of that. So right now we have images of the classrooms, the preschool classrooms, images of the outdoor space, the patios and things like that. They'll be beautiful. But what's going to be exciting is this indoor space, this new sacred space that we'll have. And we're talking about celebrating the fact that we're the people of the book. And so that the walls will be surrounded with our new prayer books. I'll explain that in a moment. And upstairs will be a programming space that will be with projectors and things like that as well, with some large classrooms for children and primarily for adult classrooms, actually, that we'll be able to use for some nice space like that in a conference room, in a sense. So, and then the social hall is not an expansion. It's just lifting the ceiling, glass in the back wall, and making it more elegant and beautiful and inviting, so people want to have more celebrations there too. Our new prayer book, when I refer to that, I'm talking about the High Holiday prayer book. So we are transitioning this year, or we have transitioned, and we will not be using the Gates of Repentance. That burgundy prayer book you all own and love. I don't know, do you love that prayer book? What's that? So, right, many of us look at the English words of that prayer book, and some are nostalgic. I actually love the Yizkor service. I think the readings in English of the Yizkor service are beautiful in the Gates of Repentance. But a lot of the language of the rest of the prayer book doesn't resonate with me as far as our theology and our philosophy. And over the years, congregants have said that to us too. So this prayer book was created in 1977, I think. I know I was given it as my bar mitzvah gift when I became bar mitzvah, so shortly thereafter. So that being the case, our new prayer book, which is called Mishkan HaNefesh, which was created by the Central Conference of American Rabbis, the Reform Rabbinical Movement, and it was created a few years ago. I think a few synagogues have announced they're doing this as well. But it will be the first year that we're doing this, and as some others as well. I heard one down the street, small one down the street's doing it. So I saw. So we're excited for that. But we're buying you all prayer books. You will not have to you will not have to replace your burgundy prayer book. We're going to buy prayer books for everyone that will stay here at Temple. So in our sacred space, the walls will be lined with 2,000 prayer books there for us. And when you show up for high holidays, we'll have them out, take them, put them back afterwards. Some people want to purchase their own prayer book, and you'll be able to do that, and we'll sell those to you as well. Some have said, I like my own high holiday prayer book, and that's great. These high holiday prayer books are dense. Don't get scared when you see them. There's one for Rosh Hashanah and one for Yom Kippur. We will not be here any longer for high holidays. I know you, that's a value we hold on to. So, but there's a lot of creativity, and I hope you'll enjoy them and you'll work. What's that? Yeah, we're starting to share things, and there's beautiful poetry in there, and you'll hear me use this illustration. And it was taught to me by Rabbi Ed Feinstein out of Valley Beth Shalom in LA, a conservative rabbi. And he said, when we go to an art museum, Dean may like, the Renaissance art, and Amy may like the contemporary art, and Julie loves, the medieval art. And that's what you spend your time in front of. And you walk past the other stuff that doesn't interest you. Same thing with a prayer book. It's lots of pages in there. You can spend all your time in a couple pages, even when we're saying turn. That's what engages you and connects with you in those moments, so that's what you can appreciate and enjoy, and that's okay. The prayers are to be a guide to help us reflect on the meaning of Rosh Hashanah, of a new year, of a time of repentance, a time of reflection. So use them as you want. Doesn't matter when I say turn to page 67. You can do it, you want to do it at that point. Don't announce loud, Paulette, saying, no, I won't. I like this poem. Joan? Yeah. I don't have any definitive facts. So for those online, the question was asked by Joan about what's happening in Israel today with the woman the Palestinian journalist, who is actually an American citizen as well, who was killed covering a story as Israel was entering Jenin, going after some terrorists there. There was some gunfire, and she was shot dead. And so Palestinians have claimed that Israel shot her. Israel has said that's not conclusive. We think she was actually killed by Palestinians who are randomly shooting at the soldiers who began. Israel didn't fire first. Israel was entering, and the Palestinians fired on the Israeli soldiers. And so my concern has been, people in Michigan and this country who've been castigating Israel without the facts. Israel's asked for an independent investigation, a dual investigation. Let us see the bullet that killed her, right? And the Palestinian authorities said, nope, we're not going to do that. We've told you Israel killed her, and we know that for a fact. So that makes me hesitate to believe that. Now, today, unfortunately, as she was being buried, funeral was taking place, processional went through Jerusalem and to a church in Jerusalem because she was a Christian Arab, and there was some rioting that occurred, and the Israeli police sort of pushed into the funeral procession. They almost dropped the casket, and it caused a lot of discontent and concern and anger on the part of the Palestinians. I can't tell you exactly what happened. The police say that some of the people in the procession were throwing rocks and bottles at the soldiers, at the police, and that's why they did that. My feeling is the police have to sort of take the higher road, and they're in armor and with shields, and it's a funeral procession. But I wasn't there. But it doesn't look good. Like Israel, at times will do things because they feel like, well, we have to protect ourselves. But in moments like this, were they really in that kind of jeopardy to react so aggressively, in a sense? But I don't know. I can't say that. A friend of mine who's a journalist in Jerusalem, Debbie Hill, she commented about the loss of her friend, a wonderful journalist, a good friend who had passed away, and the sadness of that. And that's the reality. A journalist died. A peace-loving woman who was not only a Palestinian but an American citizen was killed. And, unfortunately, it's the fog of war. And when Israel's going in to, find some people who are threatening Israel and people shoot at them, well, then gunfire occurs. So Israel would like to investigate this more, but we're not sure right now. So that's the extent that I've read and know right now. Well, it is Shabbat. We didn't begin with candles because it's so light, but we'll end with our Shabbos candles now, as she can't light a match, light the candles, and sing the blessing, and play the guitar at the same time. So as she sings and plays guitar, I'll light again.
It's gently. No?
No.
Okay. You want this?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Let's go right this.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Rise together as we join Cantor in giving thanks for the sweetness of this day and the joy of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Chaim. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you. May God protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon you and shine through you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yisimcha shalom.
May God always be a part of who we are as individuals, as a community, giving us all of our blessings. Most of all, blessing us with shalom, with peace in our heart and our mind, with us to have the ability to bring more peace into our world.
Vayisimcha shalom.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos.